Our wide selection of pre-owned vehicles looks so good, you'll think they're new.
So take the short drive to Bill Jackson Ford in Troy, where you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Ford, Troy, Alabama.
Wallace Sandals Truck Line been in business since 1959 and we'll still
growing.
We've been in business since 1959 and we'll still
growing.
Wallace Sandals Truck Line. From 1959 to 2022, we'll still
growing.
How many years is that, Mr. Glenn?
63.
Ricky, about this T680.
Got a nice digital dashboard, easy to read.
Man, Wallace Sandals Truck Line. We got competitive pay. We got Blue Cross Blue Shield. We can get you home, Wallace Sandals. Come drive for the best today. Wallace Sandals Truck Line.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
At cost plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
In the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for.
So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC. Our wide selection of pre-owned vehicles looks so good, you'll think they're new.
So take the short drive to Bill Jackson Ford in Troy, where you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Ford, Troy, Alabama.
Wallace Sandals Truck Line been in business since 1959 and we'll still
growing.
We've been in business since 1959 and we'll still
growing.
Wallace Sandals Truck Line. From 1959 to 2022, we'll still
growing.
How many years is that, Mr. Glenn?
63.
Ricky, about this T680.
Got a nice digital dashboard, easy to read.
Man, Wallace Sandals Truck Line. We got competitive pay. We got Blue Cross Blue Shield. We can get you home, Wallace Sandals. Come drive for the best today. Wallace Sandals Truck Line.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
At cost plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
In the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for.
So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC. Our wide selection of pre-owned vehicles looks so good, you'll think they're new.
So take the short drive to Bill Jackson Ford in Troy, where you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Ford, Troy, Alabama.
Wallace Sandals Truck Line been in business since 1959 and we'll still
growing.
We've been in business since 1959 and we'll still
growing.
Wallace Sandals Truck Line. From 1959 to 2022, we'll still
growing.
How many years is that, Mr. Glenn?
63.
Ricky, about this T680.
Got a nice digital dashboard, easy to read.
Man, Wallace Sandals Truck Line. We got competitive pay. We got Blue Cross Blue Shield. We can get you home, Wallace Sandals. Come drive for the best today. Wallace Sandals Truck Line.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
At cost plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
In the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for.
So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC. Our wide selection of pre-owned vehicles looks so good, you'll think they're new.
So take the short drive to Bill Jackson Ford in Troy, where you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Ford, Troy, Alabama.
Wally Sanders Truck Line been in business since 1959 and we'll still
Growing.
We've been in business since 1959 and we'll still
Growing.
Wally Sanders Truck Line. From 1959 to 2022, we'll still
Growing.
How many years is that, Mr. Glenn?
63.
Ricky, why this T680?
Got a nice digital dashboard, easy to read.
Man, Wally Sanders Truck Line, we got competitive pay, we got Blue Cross Blue Shield. We can get you home, Wally Sanders. Come drive for the best today. Wally Sanders Truck Line.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
At cost plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
In the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for.
So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill
Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. Today's the 20th day of December. I'm Forrest Lee. We have Mike Amos with us, and on the phone we have Michael Jr. calling in from Florida. It's kind of a wet day, but it's a beautiful day.
You know, Santa's joining us this morning live from our studio, so he'll be bringing you in, and of course, always welcome Santa on the show, and we appreciate all the support we have for shopping Troy this Christmas.
Mike, you were talking yesterday about Brundage, but Sunday afternoon, Jody and I were invited to Lynn Johnson's farm down there just south of Brantley, between Brantley and Dozier. Lynn Johnson and his church family, Sasser Church of Christ, they had a cookout. They had 3 fire pits, hot dogs, sausage dogs, s'mores. They had fireworks. And one of his grandsons led a little devotional, and the other grandson led a song. And it was so harmonizing when the women tuned in. It was unbelievable how beautiful that music was. And so we were coming through downtown Brantley. Jody wanted to see all the Christmas lights. And so I called Bernie Sullivan and didn't get him.
He's my buddy.
Mayor Sullivan. And
good morning, Bernie. You're my
Bernie
buddy.
Sullivan. He's got a beautiful wife, Miss Linda. And I ended up talking to him yesterday and just commenting on how beautiful the downtown Brantley area is, the front porch city of America.
Yes, sir.
And it was well lit, very decorative.
Town.
And so I wanted to mention folks in Crenshaw County that came through Luverne. Luverne's a beautiful place,
I would
too.
also like to say hello to Willie Smith, my bank president over there, and a great Trojan and a great supporter of Troy University.
And Danny Lee, Diana's son, I think he works for Brantley Bank
Sure
somewhere.
does. He works for Brantley Bank located right there at that Pike Road.
Right.
Pike Road. And I've banked there a few times. It's a great bank, and it's in a situation where he can commute. He can stay in Troy.
He's one of he's a triplet.
Yeah,
And,
those
Diana,
triplets have done well.
Yeah, his mother Diana, longtime banker from Troy Bank and Trust. She's retiring at the end of the year, and so
congratulations,
so Danny,
Diana.
start making a list for her to do.
Yeah, that's right. No, Danny's supposed to quit.
I don't know if he mentioned his dad last week. He wasn't on the show for us, but Mary Finley passed away, Dad. And I knew you knew Miss Mary very well.
I know that, and I ate
the country kitchen.
She's the one that started the country kitchen, and of course she and her husband were very good friends of my father, and I'd like to know how many meals my father had eaten at that great restaurant.
I remember chitlin night in the winter times. I remember how good Mr. Tom's steaks were, and just a wonderful, sweet lady.
And our prayers go out to Tom and his sister, and they're great people. And they own a little spread down in Goshen, Alabama. That beautiful piece of property down there.
This is the Troy Life magazine. On the cover is Joe and Evelyn Watson. He's retiring from the pharmacy world, and there's a great article on him.
Show a picture of him.
And there's a great article on Jennifer Lindsay. She's a local artist. She does weddings and other things.
Good publication by the Messenger.
There's a fashion session, a holiday treat session, and Why I Love Troy written the words of Miss Benny Jenwright. So get your Troy Life magazine today. It's a wonderful, I think it comes out once every 2 months or something like that.
Yeah, and it's very well done.
So get that. And the Troy women play today in basketball. They'll play Belmont in Nashville, Tennessee at 1 o'clock. Tootie Jones, a graduate of Troy University, will play for Belmont. She averages about 10, 11 points a game, 4, 5, 6 assists, 2 or 3 steals. So the Troy women, we're 5-5, and we'll play Belmont, who's 3-7.
Yeah.
And Belmont has played some powerhouses in college basketball.
Yes, sir, yeah.
The Troy men will play tomorrow. We're 8-4. We're going to play at home versus Mercer, and that will tip off tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. So go to the Trojan Arena and support the Trojans. And
that's going to be a great ball game right there.
And
Troy's got some injuries, and hopefully they can get over those.
Well, some shocking news or some cautious news out of Birmingham. There's Birmingham Southern may have to close.
Oh boy!
They are.
I can't understand that to save my life. I mean, they're asking lawmakers to fund $30 million. I mean, I personally know 10 people at least that are multi-millionaires that went to school at Birmingham Southern.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That could really help support that school. I mean, there is a lot of money out of that.
Oh yeah. You would think so.
I am shocked by that.
Since 1856.
I think it's embarrassed some people, and I think you'll see them go to bat for them. I can see it right now.
It says they've been battling a financial distress for over a decade. So we hope Birmingham Southern can survive.
They might be paying their faculty people more than everybody else that are doing. They might be sending their funding in the wrong places sometimes.
Well, the number one, going to Christmas again, the number one Christmas gift in demand in America is called
Barbie doll.
The Sony PlayStation 5 is the most searched gift. The second most gift is.
I wanted to bring something back up about Birmingham Southern.
Okay.
Birmingham Southern went to Division I athletics.
Yes, sir.
Every sport except football.
Sure did.
And had Dwayne Rebold, one of the best basketball coaches in the Southeast, coaching basketball. Had a great baseball program. Went to the NCAA tournament, and they decided, Joe Dean Jr., that they wanted to go back to Division III.
Joe Dean Jr. had something to do with that?
I mean, he was the athletic director.
Yeah, you would have thought that he was all for Division
Was
I.
it his daddy that said?
I'm
string
just saying,
music.
like, I mean, I think that changed that whole outlook of that whole school when that happened. They had some great programs.
They sure did.
But
I can
you don't
remember.
see that much.
Now, his dad was Joe Dean, that would be the announcer. String music
That's
from
right.
Memphis, Tennessee.
They call it spring music where I come from.
String
music.
String music.
String music.
Yeah,
Well,
Joe Dean was.
I reckon I've said that probably 1,000 times on our show, and I said spring music instead of string music.
So does that?
He called me on it. He called me on it.
His dad was athletic director at LSU.
Yeah.
So does that diminish Birmingham Southern by going backwards, or going down in divisions?
In my opinion, it did. I mean,
Yeah.
you were Division I athletics. I mean,
And
you lost all your coaches when that happened too.
You know what? That's about the same time. You know, they were competing against UAB's program, and you know both of them had great programs that they could have moved just like UAB did in basketball if they'd stayed at Division I.
You know, Joey Jones started their football program there.
Yeah.
That was his first head
That's
coach
right.
job at Birmingham Southern.
Did he start it at University of South Alabama as well?
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah, I went to graduate school there. It was just a club football team. But you know, Samford is pretty strong.
Yeah. And see, they're 1A.
North Dakota State.
They're 1A in basketball too.
Yeah, you know, having to go play North Dakota State at North Dakota State, you knew they were going to get beat.
Yeah, we brought up
Nobody wins up there.
one of the trivia questions of the day. Incarnate Word, where is that located?
Boy, I don't know. Somewhere in Texas.
That is correct. It says it is a private Catholic university with a main campus in San Antonio and Alamo Heights, Texas. It was founded in 1881 by the Sisters of Charity of the Incarnate Word. It has a campus of 154 acres. It's the largest Catholic university in Texas.
And how many students did they have?
Didn't they win a game in the playoffs against Sacramento State?
Yeah.
63?
They did.
Sure did.
Something like that.
You know, and somebody told me they just either their coach has resigned or they've hired a new coach.
He got a job.
Well, he got a head coach job. I want to say he got the Texas State. I mean, not Texas State.
Yeah, it's Texas State job.
State or North Texas job.
He got the Texas State job, Mike. That's where he
the
went.
Sacramento State coach got the Stanford job.
Oh boy, yes sir.
State to Stanford.
Look out for them.
Well, going back to Christmas, first, the highest gift on the list is the Sony PlayStation 5. The second most searched gift is the Nintendo Switch console, but in Alabama, it's the Dyson Airwrap. It's a hairstyling tool. That's the most.
I was shopping this past weekend. The past weekend at down at the beach, and they had the best selection of Barbie dolls I've ever seen. And I mean, it went from row to row of Barbie dolls. And I just can't see how anything could have outsold Barbie dolls over the years, you know.
I'm going back old school.
You're talking about Barbies?
But yeah, the Barbies, Mike, over the years, they're still as popular as they've ever been.
My daughters have about 20 or 30.
I know.
I remember we'd get a brand new pair of blue jeans in August for school, and in December you'd get new patches for your blue jeans. But I'm going old school. I'm going to stuff Jody and Abby's stocking with oranges and apples and nuts.
Just like what I gave my kids, fruit and nuts. And
tell you what, if you get a bag of Whaley pecans, that's worth some money. That's worth a big old bag's worth about $20, isn't it?
I know it.
You know, you can get a box. You can get a case of 24 little bitty pies.
Yeah.
For less than $24.
Yeah. And
that's a great,
give them to all your friends.
Take that to the Christmas party.
Yeah, exactly.
And but there's also a good article on Alabama.com. Kelsey Bernard Clark, she's Alabama's chef. She's one of the best chefs in America. and she has this casserole, squash casserole recipe that belonged to her grandmother, June Mason, and she uses Hellman's Real Mayonnaise, and I'm going to try that squash casserole.
Well, let me tell you this, that's Michael's favorite dessert, vegetable. He loves a squash casserole. You got to almost take the bowl and hide it from him.
Yeah, well, my favorite is from sisters, Pat and Geraldine, whoever cooks up.
Yeah, Pat and Geraldine's all-American vegetable.
The girl you were talking about for Dothan actually won a national television show, Top Chef.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I watched it. Some of the best chefs from all over the country, and she won it.
Kelsey Bernard Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Does she have a restaurant in Dothan?
I know she has a catering business. She might have a restaurant now.
Okay. She uses Hellman's Real Mayonnaise, and there's a good story about that. It started in New York. I read that article.
We made the switch about whenever my sister married Merriman. Her husband, he's from, right on the North Carolina, South Carolina line. He's a Duke's mayonnaise guy for life, and we made the switch to Duke's, and we love Duke's mayonnaise.
I like Duke's, too.
Yeah, and the Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl is coming up. North Carolina State versus Maryland, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, the 30th day of December in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Evidently, they're doing well because they can sponsor a bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back when I was growing up.
That's the worst celebration ever. The winning coach gets mayonnaise dumped on his head.
Oh, gosh. Are you serious?
I swear.
Oh, gosh. Oh, God.
Who got dumped last year? Was it South Carolina coach?
Yeah, Shane Baker.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Well, growing up, my mayonnaise was?
Blue Plate?
Blue Plate.
Yeah. I like Duke's.
Blue
Duke's
Plate mayonnaise was mine growing up. And a lot of folks out there said, yes, that was mine, too. That was mine. And the counts who's saying that. And all my buddies were Blue Plate people.
Do they still make a Bama mayonnaise? I remember I used to see that.
They
that's
probably
right.
do.
That's
now,
right.
my baby sister Sharon, they had asked her what she wanted on her sandwich. She said, I want some real mayonnaise because every mayonnaise thing says real. She said, I want some real mayonnaise.
Yeah. Well, and Hellman, I really didn't know much about Hellman's growing up, but I don't even know if it was there about growing up, but it was good mayonnaise for a time, but I like Duke's.
Well, I had plenty of mayonnaise and bread sandwiches growing up.
I did too, with pepper on them, with bread with pepper on them.
The Navy's got a new head coach.
It was a mayonnaise sandwich?
At one time I could think that might have been all that was in the cupboard at the time, maybe. Yeah. Until I went up to Sheldon Davis's store and ordered
bologna.
Yeah, bologna.
House.
And he put that bologna in there. I watch it, boy, and I go home, and first thing my mama would do, she'd put an X here, an X here, an X here, so it wouldn't bub up.
Right. Yeah. When you
and boy, we had those mayonnaise sandwiches, either hot or cold, either one.
You remember the pickle loaf and the olive loaf?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Mother liked sauce. I would eat it, but
pimento loaf, that pimento loaf, and the liver cheese. I didn't like the liver cheese. Are you familiar? Were you familiar with that?
I have had it.
Give me the regular bologna.
When you were growing up, you could walk to that grocery store. You could walk to Ingram's Skirt Market.
Well, you had Ivy's grocery store right across the street. A lot of people in my neighborhood shopped Ivy's, and some people shopped Sheldon Davis's grocery across the street. They were located right across the street from each other, and now sometimes Miss Ivy and them would stay open a little bit longer than maybe Sheldon would, but after he closed, so you have to go to Ivy's, and I did, Miss Ivy was a big lady, and Mr. Ivy was a little man, but I'll tell you how Mr. Davis across the street got my favorite was every time I'd walk by his grocery store, and a lot of times he'd be sitting in a chair outside the store until somebody came in and he'd get up and go see about him. But he called me Babe Ruth. That was my name with him. He called me Babe Ruth every time I passed by his store.
Were you left-handed?
No, but I always, a lot of times I'd have a bat and a glove with me when I walked by his store. But
I know you weren't. I know you weren't pudgy.
Hey, how many times have you heard me say Dave's Grocery? That's the way Mr. Davis answered his show. I mean, it's his phone at the store. It said Dave's Grocery.
Those grocery stores are.
And I'd go in there and I'd get me a Pepsi Cola, and I'd get me a bag of Tom's Toasted Peanuts, and I'd pour them in there, and I still to this day pour my peanuts in my drink. I love it. Now I do it in Coke.
I don't get that one.
Oh, now I love it.
Coca-Cola?
No, peanuts in a Coca-Cola. Hey, listen, that was the thing to do, and I loved it. And to this day, I like peanuts in my Coca-Cola.
Mr. Bufford Beard, you'd go
like
down to
that,
his
yeah.
store in Goshen, and you could pop the top of those Coca-Colas, and a little bit of ice would form. He'd have ice in his milk, too.
Yeah.
And when I worked for the city of Goshen, we were putting in new plumbing, and I'd go to his store. J.R. Sanders was the mayor, and I'd walk up to the store and have my lunch. I'd get some dinner sausage and crackers, and I'd watch The Days of Our Lives with Bufford and Miss Gladys and Billy Grant. Well, if somebody came in the store, Bufford would say, Billy, get them, because he didn't want to miss the soap opera.
Let me ask you something. Do you like buttermilk?
I love buttermilk. I didn't, but I love
let me
it
tell
now.
you this. Let me tell you this. Before he answered, I said, sure. I said, this boy is a country boy. He loves. Let me tell you this. If somebody wanted me to tell all my secrets, all they got to do is make me drink buttermilk. That is the worst tasting stuff I have ever made. And hey, like I said, I'll tell all my secrets if you.
What does it taste like?
It tastes like sour milk. That's what it tastes like.
Well, when I was little, I didn't like it. But as I got older, I started liking it. But there is a gourmet buttermilk in Publix that is fantastic. And I make my biscuits with buttermilk.
Oh, now, I can understand cooking with them, and I don't have any problem with the cooking, but don't make me drink it.
Well, I may bring some buttermilk biscuits in the morning.
Oh, boy, and I can see him with I can see him with a buttermilk mustache, too. I can see him right now. I can see him as a little boy, running in there and say, give me some buttermilk, give me some buttermilk. Like I said.
My favorite thing this time of year is eggnog.
Well, I like eggnog now. That's wonderful. And I got some eggnog in my refrigerator right now. And you know what? You don't have to get fancy. I think the carton eggnog that we get is about as good as you can get.
The one from Publix is really good.
Yeah.
We can't get Barbers anymore. And Barbers was always
Barbers was really good. Yeah.
Do they put? Some people put bourbon in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what it is. Some people.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, in fact, it's wonderful with bourbon in it. A good little, and I recommend Crown Royal.
My favorite Christmas time.
I recommend Maker's Mark.
In fact, I got a half gallon of Crown Royal I'm gonna take to a friend of mine this morning.
What time will you be coming? What time should I expect you? Anyway.
I need to start a business in Troy that delivers liquor. That'd probably make a lot of money during the holidays.
Yeah, you can do it now.
Mike, we were back on my trip to the bowl game, and had a great time. And I was telling Forrest yesterday that I saw. Yes, I'm talking about just numbers and numbers of Sigma Chi's that live down there, and I couldn't get over how many guys. I said, "Where do you live?" He said, "Oh, we live here." And
we live, a bunch of them.
And they really supported that game too.
Yeah, they'll come to Troy for homecoming. Usually, a bunch of them came to the Army game.
I was impressed with it.
Anyway.
Now, and of course, the Pi Caps, if you got all the fraternities, all the old fraternities, and get them to rally, you could have a big crowd just with them,
Just with the old guys.
Yeah.
But I think the Greek system's improving at Troy University, especially on the guys' side. The girls have always been
But the
strong.
numbers are not what they should be, but the quality, I believe, is good, you know.
Yes, sir. Well, let's take a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining us this morning, this December the 20th. We got just a few days left for Christmas. And want to thank our sponsors, Horn Beverage Company. Want to thank Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Troy, Jason Gregory and his staff, Ideal Graphics. And we're going to take a short break. We'll be back after these messages.
Merry Christmas from
Ho,
the
ho,
staff and the
ho.
management of Troy.
In the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for.
So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC.
Cost plus 10%. We offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
This award is for the team, for the employees who keep us going, help us get there, for the employees who keep this community in rhythm, and the ones who keep us comfortable, for those who go that extra step to do more, give more, care more. It's because of you that Southeast Health was honored as one of the best employers in Alabama by Forbes. We want to give credit where credit is due. We're one.
Hey, I'm Forrest Lee. We have Mike Amos with us this morning, and his son Michael's calling in from Grayton Beach, Florida. And we're having a good day today, and hope you've enjoyed our show thus far. And
Well, you know, I love to talk about old times and old days, and you know, it really humbles me to think of those old grocery stores and those things where you, hey, the candy bars, the Payday, the Snicker, the Butternut, the Hollywood, these are candy bars now, the Mounds, the Almond Joys, and the Hershey's, and the Zeros, and see, those are candy bars. Growing up, that's what when I go to the store, that's what I wanted, to give me a candy bar, you know. And the Three Musketeers, you know, I know there's some people in our audience at home naming off all those candy bars. I can name even more, you know, candy butternut.
What's your favorite? What's your top three favorites?
Probably a Snicker.
Snicker for Dove.
Snicker probably, and then I like Zeros. I like them a lot, and you know, that's the white chocolate.
You like Almond Joys.
I like Almond Joys, yeah.
That's what Daddy
are
liked, was
my top
Almond
three.
Joy. I'm not a coconut fan.
Well, let me tell you this, and I'm not gonna get mushy with you on this, but I'm fixing to hit you pretty good. A guy I was with yesterday said your mama was one of the sweetest people he is ever known. And you want to name that man? Name that guy?
KT?
KT Cole.
KT
Said
Cole.
she was one of the sweetest women he had ever known, ladies he had ever known.
Bonnie
And man,
Faye.
you know, of course, she was a nurse for Jim Colley, Dr. Jim Colley, when he first got back out of medical school.
Well, she worked at Troy University, and then Gloria Flowers, she worked for Gloria
that's
Flowers,
right, yeah.
doing dictation at
And
the
that's
hospital.
Steve's mama.
And then Jim Colley hired her to do the dictating of his, you know, transcripts or whatever.
Yeah.
And they first were at the old Skeen Funeral Home. They were there. Him and
remember
Dr.
that,
Tip were
yeah.
side by side. Pam Little worked there. Helen Livingston, and of course, his wife. Was that Helen?
Pam Little is one of my favorite ladies out there. Sweet, beautiful Pam Little.
And they moved out there in front of the hospital where Dr. Sheriff's office is now. But Mother, there were 3 girls. Aunt Helen was the oldest. She's still living. She's 89. Mother would be 87, and Aunt Dot is 77, Dorothy Thomas. But she died at age 53 on Christmas Eve.
Hey, well, I'll tell you this, there's going to be a lot of yeses, yeses. Let me tell you this, you had a sweet mama, and I had a sweet, sweet, sweet mother. Miss Lillian Amos, 213 Orion Street, was my sweet mother, and gosh, wasn't she wonderful. And she always made Christmas, special. Like hanging those elves in the oak tree in front of my house with the big jack-o'-lantern heads, the elf said, and Santa Claus was, she could really do it. And, she always had some kind of Christmas deal in my front yard.
Well, when we had Christmas, we had Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner, and New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
I mean, the first day of the year. But we'd go down to grandmother. Her name was Polly McLeod. Her real name was Callie May.
Yeah.
She had a twin sister, Nellie Gray. But they went by Polly and Sally. Her birthday was yesterday, but they would cook up a feast. And when I was a little boy, I'd walk down the dirt road to their house, and I'd watch them cook. And I said, when I was probably 11 or 12, I said, can I cook something? Well, they put me in charge of the boiled eggs. So I got to do I got to do the deviled eggs.
I love the deviled eggs, but I cannot stand boiled eggs. I love deviled eggs,
these were the deviled eggs.
Boiled eggs.
I can't stand that either. My wife makes egg salad all the time. It's awful.
I like egg salad.
Now let's have some fun. I'll tell you what I would have for Christmas dinner or supper or whatever. We ate at mid-afternoon, I reckon. And you tell them what you had. I had turkey and I had dressing. My mother made delicious dressing. And of course, we would always have the butter beans and the cornbread muffins, and but mostly the main ingredient was turkey and dressing. But she had some excellent desserts. Now, of course, she'd also have chicken and dumplings. And my mother didn't know anything about having a 5-course meal or 6-course meal. Hers were 10 and 12 and 14 course. She always just had different things. But she made a lane cake. Have you ever had a lane cake?
As lane is where you got all the fruit and stuff in it.
And you pour a little liquor on it if you want to. My mother was a teetotaler. I mean, but come Christmas time, I always needed at least a pint of whiskey to go with her cooking. Cake. But that was that lane cake was really something special.
The one morning, I was probably 12 years old. I went down there on Christmas Day, and I was in the kitchen. Granddaddy, Lewis McLeod, he said, "Come here." He called me Yiddle, little boy. Come here, little boy. And he reached under the cabinet and took a snuff jar. When they recycled snuff came in these little jars.
Yeah.
Just like Bama jelly came in jars, and they saved those jars for their tea glasses and orange juice glasses, for orange juice. So he reached under the cabinet and got a paper sack, and he poured a little bit of this liquid in it, and he said, "Drink this, little boy, to grow hair on your arms." And it was scupping in wine. That was pretty good.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I drank about that much.
Shame on that boy feeding that little boy wine.
He just gave me a taste, and I got hair on my arms.
Now, I tell you what, Michael, that was the last thing you'd have on my table would be any kind of wine or anything like that. But in the cake, there was always a little twang to it.
Well, this was during the cooking. This was during the cooking, not during the.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We had I guess every Christmas morning, your thing was the sausage, egg, and cheese casserole.
And let me give it to you real quick. The sausage, egg, and cheese casserole, and I thought it was really good. You know, first of all, you brown the sausage in the, you know, and you go ahead and you stir up your eggs and your cheese together, and then you
put bread in yours.
Yeah, I put bread in there. You're exactly right, but I stirred it all up real good, and it was a sausage, egg, and cheese casserole, and I cooked it every Christmas morning. No other morning during the year, but every Christmas morning.
I've heard of people putting crackers in there if you have extra guests and not enough eggs. You put a little bit of crackers in there to make it go a little bit longer.
Yeah. But you know, it's easy to make, and of course, let's just say this: my father-in-law, Roy Crow, always came to my house as early as he could to get that casserole. He enjoyed it.
Well, Navy.
It wasn't too far of a walk.
I know it, right up the street.
You know, Navy's got a new head coach. They promoted defensive coordinator Brian Newberry as a full-time head coach.
That's interesting. They hired from within staff for Ken Nonley-Holla.
Yeah.
I think that's his name, was there for 15 years. Yeah. This guy was a coordinator for 5.
Yeah.
I was surprised that he had more guys wanting to try to get that Navy job.
Well, they still probably going to live and die by the option play, and
that's what the athletic director and president said. They wanted to continue to run the option.
But I'll tell you this, as I watched all of the Army Navy game, and it was it looked like shoot in here one of those somebody's got to have some relief type games, but. They gave Troy fits. Now, the Army gave Troy fits for just running this basic option.
Yeah, if you control the ball.
Especially with the first guy, he'd get he'd come off the ball so good, he'd have 3 or 4 yards before you turned around.
And their linemen were down, slanting like you're going to run the ball.
Like that, like the old Alabama lines used to do.
That's right.
Troy had an advantage though. Chill Woods, Troy's defense coordinator, was co-defense coordinator for 2 years in Army.
That's right. You know what?
Eric McDaniel, the defensive line coach in Troy, also coached in Army.
I'll tell you this. Those two guys need to get a raise, man. I tell you, they were excellent coaches. If you look at Troy defensively, especially up front, they were really, really good.
And we play at Army next year.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. You'll have a lot of fun with that.
That will be a fun game to go to.
I don't know how you, I guess you could fly into New York and rent a car, but I would imagine you might.
That's it. That would be the best thing to do. Mm-hmm. Flying to New York.
It's up in northern New York, up in the mountains.
Oh, it's beautiful. I've never been there, but I've heard a lot about it.
Well, on the National Football League scene, there's a college team that set a record this past weekend. They've had 70 of its former players to play in the National Football League this year.
Oh, man.
70 players.
University of Alabama.
The University of Alabama has had 70 players to play in the National Football League this year.
This year?
Yeah. When Reggie Ragland played this weekend, he was activated. He played for the Baltimore Ravens. That made him the 70th player who has graduated from the University of Alabama who has played in the National Football League this year.
That is phenomenal. That is unreal.
Let me tell you a story about
I don't know if that'll ever be broken.
Yeah. Reggie Ragland, let me tell you a story about him. Michelle Armstrong, the cheerleader sponsor at Charles Henderson High School, Abby and those cheerleaders went to the University of Alabama for a cheer clinic. Well, I drove the bus up there and dropped them off. Michelle took her car so she could do the running around. To go get food and all that kind of stuff. So I dropped them off and left coming back to Troy. Well, Michelle had a flat tire outside of the stadium. Outside of one of the dorms. And she was thinking what to do. And this big old guy come up. He said, "Ma'am, can I help you?" And he changed her tire. Just walked up to her. Yeah. Reggie Ragland. changed her tire.
Great linebacker. I remember him when he played at Alabama.
Then he signed with the Bills, I believe, and hurt his knee. Did he sign with the Bills originally?
Yeah. He's been with a lot of different teams, but yeah, he was all SEC a couple of years ago.
You read something yesterday about leadership. You know, captain. Tell us again about.
I don't have that in front of me, but you know, Alabama I think has 11 captains in the National Football League. You know, most teams I guess have 2 or 3, but are there 30 teams in the
32, I think.
32.
I want to say maybe.
Well, 11 of them.
It's over 32.
11 of them are graduates of the University of Alabama. Auburn has several, but I'll try to get that number for you. Yeah. But you know,
we got signing day tomorrow, and right now in the transfer portal, there's over 2,300 players.
And less than a quarter of those will get an opportunity.
You know,
I know, but isn't that unbelievable? 2,300, and apparently Jeff Traylor, who is the coach at the University of Texas San Antonio, who Troy just beat in the bowl game, has publicly made national news on Twitter and all these other social media sites saying, how does a coach report a Power 5 program from trying to poach all our young talent on our football team? How much evidence do you really need to make this not be a part of our game? So apparently everybody coming after all his players on the Texas San Antonio roster, trying to get them to leave their school to come play for their school.
And Troy shut them down when we had to. Hey, listen, 1st and goal from the 2 and ram. That's all it took was 4 rams.
I mean, I still think that's one.
And beat them.
That's got to be one of my top wins in Troy history. Yeah. So 160 yards of offense and still win a bowl game, 18-12. Incredible.
And you know something about the game is, you know, that they threw. You know, they were supposed to be a good running attack, and they were, especially in the first quarter. But they threw it a lot more than I thought they would throw it. And even on the goal line, they threw it 2 or 3 times, and they failed to make it.
Let me ask you a question. The head coach at Troy University, I guess, would make more than a top-level defensive coordinator at a Power 5 school.
You would think so.
No. Shoot, Golden in Alabama makes $1.5 million.
Yeah. But I'm saying that the average coach would.
Oh my God! There is 4 deer running down the road in the middle of Grace right now. I swear to you.
It might be Rudolph. You know, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer.
Honest to goodness, my girls can see that. I mean, I'm talking about the Funiac Street, the main drive to the Reservoir. I just saw 3 deer in the middle of the road.
They're coming out of those swamps.
They are everywhere. Golly,
that is crazy. I've never seen that.
I'll tell you what, if you want to find...
I know they've been in my yard before, but I've never seen them running down the streets of Grace.
Now, I want to ask Michael a question. I'm going to ask you a question. Mike, in Pike County, Alabama, and you wanted to find Rudolph, where would you go at night?
I'd go to Mark Marietta.
Exactly.
What's it called out there? Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this guy reads my mind. Exactly. You go down the road that goes to Martin Marietta, and I promise you, you'll see about 100, maybe 200 deer. I mean, you know, from that distance.
You got to do 1 mile an hour and hope they don't run into you.
But right down Martin Marietta Drive is where you're going to find more deer than you find anywhere. Now, Steve can argue with me because Steve takes pictures of them. You know, Steve, he doesn't hunt anymore. You know, all he does is take pictures. And Mike, he took a picture not too long ago, and I want to say the deer had close to 20 points.
Wow.
That's a huge deer, isn't it?
Yep.
You probably don't need to say that out loud. Somebody's going to try to go find it.
Yep. And Steve said, boy, you're exaggerating a little bit.
You know, there are 2, going back to the transfer portal, there's a window that started the 5th day of December, and it closes January the 18th, and it's going to reopen again later. But there's a good article on ESPN about college recruiting NIL and all that you got to be able to manage your roster, determine your scholarships and the ones that you're going to give away to or award to the high school players and to the ones in the transfer portal. But in this article, it said the teams that have the most at stake is Alabama, that they can really jump ahead of the game. There's two players, Jaquavius Russaw and James Smith, who are playing at Carver. If those two, they're going to go as a package deal. Alabama's in the mix, Auburn's in the mix, and about 3 or 4 other schools. If they get those two guys, that may just jump them way up there. But
Russaw got a start at Charles Henson High School.
He did. And Miami, Auburn, Colorado, and they were saying Texas A&M, that has been the worst drop from the best class they had last year till now. Since something happened to the Florida program in 2010. But Texas A&M is not the same Texas A&M as it was last year as far as recruits.
Let me tell you what I think they've got to do. They've got to make it a one-time only. You know, a guy goes on the portal one time and that's it. I think it ought to be something like that. You know, to limit.
You got too many guys that have taken advantage of it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's some guys that transfer 4 or 5 times.
Oh,
well, in that article, it talks about, I read another article, NIL, there's so much going on behind the scenes that these alumni are already targeting these high school players who are sophomores, juniors, and even younger, parlaying them to come to their school because some states allow NIL in high school. There's about, I think, 12 to 16 states that allow it.
Yeah.
So when you got a kid coming out of high school who's already, his back pocket is going to be bigger than most coaches that he's going to play for, the dynamics has changed, and it makes me want to just go out in the woods and not even think about football.
Well, and another thing, these kids that are getting all this money and everything, think about it, some kids can hardly buy a hamburger, on the money they get from the school,
I've heard a lot of these programs are trying to get every scholarship player something. I guess it doesn't really get publicized, but and then I always hear about like these quarterbacks like Bryce Young taking out, his offensive lineman out to dinner once a week. I mean, you hear stories that these guys are trying to get back some.
All right, listen to this real quick, Mike. All right, right now at Troy, of course, you got Gunnar Watson at the quarterback. All right, you got the kid transferred from Utah, and then the kid that transferred from
West Virginia.
He's gone.
Is he gone? Is he left?
Yeah, that was his 6th year of football. He's gone. Dagy's out of there.
What's his name?
Dagy.
All right, Davey. Okay, he's a. All right, I'll guarantee you, Troy will probably get 1, maybe 2 quarterbacks from the portal.
Well, they got the kid from Brantley. You said that's.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, you're exactly right. And I think he can make the difference himself. I think he's the quarterback of the future, in my opinion. But and he's right out of high school at Brantley.
Gunnar Watson could somehow get to be consistent. I mean, how in the world they won 12 games with Watson playing the way he played? Well, Dagy came in and won the West Kentucky game and saved us there. I mean, that was one of the greatest wins probably as a player he ever had. To come back,
the Gunnar's good, and
to beat a team that pretty much he lost the starting job right before camp.
Let me tell you this: the problem with Gunnar was this, good or bad. Either he held the ball too long, or the offensive line didn't block anybody. One or the other, because he got sacked.
He can take a sack, he gets drilled, and gets back up.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get a defensive front. We're going to improve it. We're going to improve our offensive front. You do that.
Yeah. How many of our front do we lose defensively? Because Troy had to have a great front to have the defense.
Defensive and offense, you need to.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to lose Cholo, who's been a starter for 3 years. Buda Jones, that nose guard they brought in from Kent State, was really good this year.
Yeah.
Big, strong kid. He'll
Yeah.
be back. Medina was the starting defensive tackle. He got hurt in the second game, missed the rest of the season.
Yeah, he'd get a red shirt probably,
The
won't he?
big question is how many people are going to come after Kamani Vidal, running back, that rushed for over 1,000 yards.
Yeah. Boy, there's a lot of running backs out
Yeah,
there. It seems like everybody's got a running back, you know.
He's from Marietta, Georgia. You don't think Georgia Tech might want that kid to come play?
I bet. You're right.
What
He's
about the guy at Southern Miss, Frank Gore Jr.? What classification is he?
I want to say he's just a junior.
They may come after him.
Yeah, I've seen him play the last two.
You know, come after him is Miami.
Yeah. Well, too,
But
it's not so much what they want to go after, it's what those kids want to go after, because they might want to jump to a bigger program. It's like scrambled eggs,
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's no telling what everybody's game room, war room looks like on the marquee board. Quarterbacks in the portal, there's 100 of them. Which one do we want?
Yeah,
I mean,
I want to say Troy has 8 to 10 signing or commitments that they're going to sign. You know, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think you need to look to UAB as far as some offensive guys possibly transferring, because you're going to have Craddock as offensive coordinator. Of course, he was tight ends coach and worked with Brian Benson up there, and that might be a pipeline.
Yeah.
You might see a lot of UAB guys coming to Troy.
What about Bryant Vincent? Where will he land?
I know it. I'd love to have Brian Benson.
Brian will get a job. It's just a matter if he wants to, coach a position. I don't know.
With Brian coached at Charles Henson High School for 5 years. He was assistant coach at Charles
Brian's been an
Henson.
offensive coordinator for several years now. I don't know if he wants to coach a position.
Well, could a Power 5 school come down and grab John Sumrall? He'd be our defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And we'll groom you to be the head coach.
John Summerall is a lock for the Kentucky job. It looks like to me whenever Stoops leaves.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be his dream job.
Yeah. I was going to mention girls wrestling. There is a wrestling tournament in Enterprise. Right now, Enterprise is in 4th place. Dothan's in 9th place. It's called the Queen of the South Tournament. It's being held on the Enterprise campus. They had matches last night. There will be some more today, starting at 9:30 with the championship matches at 1 o'clock at Enterprise Performing Arts Center. Also, Charles Henderson started their wrestling program. I think they have 6 people who wrestle. Blake Barron won his first match last Friday night on the campus of Troy. Charles Henderson, I don't know when their next match is, but they got only 6 wrestlers, which means it'll be hard to win a tournament because you got to have a full team of 13.
Yeah.
And I coached it at one time when I was in Georgia at Wattsville Road Middle School. We fed Troop High, and they were a kingpin in wrestling in the state of Georgia.
Years ago, when Troy University had a wrestling team, they had one guy that was really good. His name was Mike Murphy. He'd win his match every time, but the rest of them would lose.
Right.
A long time ago.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today, and it was good to see Mike. Thank you for calling Michael. Tomorrow we're going to do the rest of the picks for the bowl games, and here's going to Santa. We're going to close out with him singing to you. We'll see you bright and early in the morning on Today in L.A.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Santa is coming to your house, believe you me.
Our wide selection of pre-owned vehicles looks so good, you'll think they're new.
So take the short drive to Bill Jackson Ford in Troy, where you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Ford, Troy, Alabama.
Wally Sanders Truck Line been in business since 1959 and we'll still growing. We've been in business since 1959 and we'll still growing. Wally Sanders Truck Line. From 1959 to 2022, we'll still growing. How many years is that, Mr. Glenn?
63.
Ricky, why this T680?
Got a nice digital dashboard, easy to read.
Man, Wally Sanders Truck Line, we got competitive pay. We got Blue Cross Blue Shield. We can get you home, Wally Sanders. Come drive for the best today. Wally Sanders.